Morning, everyone, and thank you very much for joining me for the Crypto Minute. My name is Russell Shaw, I'm a Senior Market Specialist at FXCM. My email address rshaw@fxcm.com. Today being Wednesday, the 9th of March, 2022. Just going to bring up our high-risk investment warning. Apologies that we're starting later. I actually got so sort of engrossed in the oil analysis that we're doing in our previous webinar that I ran over time. So my apologies there, but we'll do some crypto analysis in the next few moments. I'm just going to bring up our market commentaries disclaimer. I'm going to keep this on screen for a few moments as well. And here is our references, MarketScope 2.0 and possibly tradingview.com. Let's just bring up MarketScope. Okay, so here we've got the Bitcoin hourly. It looks pretty good. We've got the crossover. Over here we've got the 5 EMA across the 10 EMA, good angle, good separation. We've got the stochastic in the 80 area, and you can see that Bitcoin is currently resting with the R3 resistance pivot. However, we don't want to keep the focus on the hourly. Okay, we want to do a top-down approach. We want to understand where is the hourly operating within the longer term time frames. In technicals, we've got the primary analysis, the primary trend that influences the secondary influences the smaller trends, right? So we'll go through to our weekly over here, and this is an important chart to keep an eye on. There is very little evidence in the webinars we've done in terms of the crypto that suggests Bitcoin is a haven. In fact, I'm quite convinced it's not a haven. However, it is part of the risk instruments. So the idea here is if we have a risk on sentiment, there is potential for that positivity to flow through into Bitcoin. Nevertheless, we want to understand that currently, as we are discussing this, the trend is down. Okay, the trend is down. Lower peak followed by a lower trough into consolidation. Okay, let's just take a look at Ethereum as well. In fact, let's put Ethereum in a new. These are going to be grayed out. You know what? I'll just do this, and then we can use it. So I'm just going to add this to my list. That will make these live, and then I can change this to Ethereum. Okay. Okay, so take a look at Ethereum. Similar analysis. I'm going to change it to algorithmic. Okay. Lower peak, followed by lower trough into consolidation. Okay. So here's the Bitcoin. Here's Ethereum. I'm going to put them right next to one another. Okay. And we can get a pretty good idea of what's going on. And just to make it apples with apples, let's add in the stochastic. Okay, we just want the %K. Okay, we don't need the %D. And Ethereum still sort of oscillating around this 20 area. So in order for Ethereum and Bitcoin to recover, the stochastics are going to have to move from the 20 level and head into the 80 level. Okay, and we're looking at the weekly chart here. So these would be significant if we got into the 80 level here. Okay. Now that would need to have breakouts from these sideways pennants that need a break to the top. So these are suspected pennants, but they're not pennants until the pattern's complete. The patterns have to complete. The smaller nature of the patterns suggests that they are continuation. Okay. Smaller nature of the patterns suggests that they're continuation patterns. Now, what about the larger patterns here? That makes for some interesting analysis too. So let's take a look and see what we can see. Which market was the large candle on the 1 hour chart created? Are you talking in the cryptos, Howard? Over here. This was Bitcoin overnight. So this would be 5 a.m. GMT plus 2, 3 a.m. UK. Okay, yeah, Bitcoin, and we can go down to the hourly on Ethereum. I'm pretty sure it follows similar. Okay. So sort of on the Asian side of the trading day. Let's go back to the weekly here, and all right. So let's just take a look at the longer patterns here. Remember that a shorter pattern is over here. This is a potential. This is a potential. I don't know. So not from the UK time zone. It's coming from the that happened overnight from the. So it happened about 3 a.m. UK time. So it was the movement was on the Asian side when the Asian markets were open. What we'll do there, I think, Howard, hold that thought. I'll come back to it. I'll come back and see if we can find out what moved that. So let's just remember that this is the pennant here, okay? And let me just change it to say the prospective or the potential pennant, because it's not a pennant until it completes. But then we've got the prospects of this large double top. Okay, that's a potential double top. It's not a double top until it completes, because what happens if we get a triple top? What happens if we don't get a top at all and it carries on moving up? So it's just a potential double top. But the pattern that I'm more interested in actually concerning this pennant, there's another pattern here, potential pattern, which I think it ties in quite nicely with the pennant, and that's this potential head and shoulders on the right top. So all of these potential patterns are all threatening, but of course, until they complete, they're going to amount to naught. But you can see that there is a whole lot of patterns here which are ominous. You got your left shoulder here, got your right shoulder here. I beg your pardon. You got your right shoulder here, and you've got your head here. All right, and in fact, we don't have a right shoulder. That's the whole point. Is we've got a potential right shoulder, just as we've got a potential pennant. Okay, they have to complete. If they don't complete, they amount to naught. If we get the stochastic making its way up to 80, the double top, that becomes invalidated. The potential head and shoulders, that invalidates. The pennant, that invalidates. But the whole key is for the stochastic to move off of the 20 area and move into that 80 area. Now, I think that's going to be a difficult task. Clearly, it's not impossible. Everything's probable. Everything's got a probability. I think we'll talk about why I think it's going to be difficult for Bitcoin to do that in a moment. Let's just do a similar analysis now with the Ethereum instrument. Here's your left shoulder, here's your head, here is your right shoulder question mark, because we don't really know if this is going to be a right shoulder. It has to complete, but if it completes, well, that means the pennant completes, and if the pennant completes and the head and shoulder completes, then you've got multiple sort of measured moves that come in. Measured moves are certainly interesting, but not it's technical theory. It doesn't mean they may or they may not be hit, which we've discussed previously. But the measured move here comes all the way down to 1,100. Well, then of course you've got to consider the measured move means that the double top here gets broken, and if the double top gets broken, well, then we've actually got an even bigger measured move. So again, it's just on a technical basis, these patterns are looking ominous, but they're not ominous. They're not ominous until they complete. I mean, they're ominous. They're not factual until they're complete. Okay, so we've just got all these patterns that are looming. Now, one of the reasons that I think that we have to, I don't really do so sort of much intense pattern analysis, but I think the reason that I'm just highlighting the patterns here is because there is an ominous tone to them, and the reason that I want to just bring that attention to your attention is I think what we need to do is bring up trading view and just look at the charts against the US dollar, because I think that makes a big difference. All right, let's just get this up. Just while I'm waiting for this to, there it is. Okay, that's fine. Let's just bring up Bitcoin to the US dollar. And we'll add the US dollar underneath. And specifically, I think that from this point here, we have I think some suppositions that we can apply. So the first one is that Bitcoin becomes inversely correlated to the US dollar during the pandemic period, and to the point that when the dollar bottoms, that is actually when Bitcoin tops. Okay, so the Bitcoin has not been able to take out its top that it made at the dollar bottom, and the dollar continues to rise, and that in and of itself is something that we need to recognize. There is another chart we need to add here, and that would be gold. And the reason that we add in gold is we want to do a measurement from where the dollar bottomed. And the measurement is as follows. Negative for Bitcoin, and the measurement for gold is positive. So what's the big deal? Well, they both are measured against the dollar. Bitcoin priced in dollar. 1 per ounce priced in dollar. Dollar's moving up, but gold is still at a positive slope. In other words, gold is moving up despite the fact that its denominator is moving up. So the numerator is strong here. The numerator is weak here. So I think that whilst gold is the preferred haven, whilst the dollar is moving up, Bitcoin potentially finds it hard to get the traction. Now it might move up. There might be an increased demand for the numerator side of Bitcoin, in other words, for Bitcoin itself, but on a relative basis, it's lagging. We can do the same sort of analysis with Ethereum. Ethereum actually outperforming Bitcoin, so that's interesting. Haven't done that before. So Ethereum actually does have the positive gradient here. It does falter. It does falter from here though. Gold doesn't falter from there. So it kind of falters from there. So from the low of March 2021, Ethereum does hold its own. From about May, it loses its puff. Okay, just the last thing we want to look at. So how it's just asking if we can get an idea of what moved the market sort of on the hourly. I think it may have. I think it may just be because the Asian markets overnight seem to have had a risk on type of see if we can take a look at Japan. Let's take a look at Hang Seng. They're all pushing down. Let's just take a look at UK oil. All right, I don't see the obvious catalyst here for the move, Howard. So I'm going to just have to see if I can pick it up in the news. But these moves definitely seem to be standalone moves. So I'll just see if there is anything I can pick up on the wires. So unfortunately, sir, I don't have an appropriate explanation for you just yet. But I'll look into it. Practically the only participants left in Bitcoin are the true believers. All right. Well, I'm not sure. Not sure what to say, and let's keep an eye on it, I guess, is the response. It certainly is finding support. Okay, it's certainly finding support. There's no doubt about it. My worry is that support a pause in something that's something more vicious? Yeah, thank you. Okay, send that through to me. Okay. I don't. How it says maybe it was when the EU said they were going to reduce Russian gas imports. All right. let me see if I can find something concrete around that, Howard, and I'll see if I can. If I find something, I'll put it on an article and put it into Insights, and then I'll put it on Telegram. So I can't confirm or deny at this stage. Let me double check into it. All right, guys. I think then let's conclude at this point. I want to thank you very much for joining me. Apologies we were late, but the markets are tremendously interesting at the moment, and we just spent an extra time on the oil. We did a bit of we did some serious analysis on oil. By the way, Howard's just saying that Russian oil is trading $25 below West Texas. So it just shows you the discount that the Russian oil is already trading at, because people, buyers are tending to avoid it now regardless. All right, thanks very much, guys. Let's wrap up here, and we will chat soon. You guys have my email if you need to get hold of me. Thanks very much. Have a great day yourself, Anna, and thank you everyone for joining. Cheers, guys.